time to huddle up, football fans, and welcome into the Hard Count Podcast, episode 7. I'm very pleased to be joined by my good friend today, Max Marino. And Max, welcome back to the show. It's been a couple of months since the last time you were on the podcast with me, but how have you been? What have you been up to? And are you staying safe, staying healthy?
I appreciate that, Anthony. It has been a good while since I've been on the show, and I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me. Some of the same old as before, staying safe, working a little bit now as things in Connecticut are starting to open up more and stuff, but really just hanging out, looking for jobs, maybe get hired somewhere, we'll see.
Yeah, I hear it's slow-moving stuff, but it's good to see that some things are opening back up and that you're staying healthy. At least that's the main thing,
I appreciate it. Thank you. You as well.
Yeah, but we're going to hop right into things today. We got 4 topics to discuss today and some pretty interesting stuff, actually. So we're going to start with, of course, what was the huge breaking news from earlier this week, much anticipated, and that, of course, is Cam Newton finally finding a home after several months, actually, being out on the free agent market with no home for him. Well, surprise, surprise, Cam Newton is now going to the New England Patriots on a 1-year deal worth $1.04 million, only $550,000 guaranteed, believe it or not. Now, of course, Cam Newton, the former MVP, 9 seasons with the Panthers before getting cut. Of course, the Panthers are really entering a new era of their franchise, moving off of Ron Rivera, moving off Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly retiring as well. So really a new era for Carolina. Cam Newton needed a new home. It's been a while for him to try and find one, but finally landing with the Patriots and Bill Belichick. 1 year, $1.04 million. $550,000 guarantee. Now, this deal could reach up to $6.45 million with incentives and roster bonuses as well. But Max, of course, this is stunning news, I think, for a lot of people. Some people were really calling on New England to make this move a while back, but a lot of people also felt like there was no way in heck that Bill Belichick would take a chance on Cam Newton. So, what are your reaction to this move? And are you surprised by how cheap Cam's deal is with the Patriots?
So there's definitely so much to take into account with this. I was just surprised overall to see the Patriots, of all teams, take a chance on Cam Newton. I knew for a fact he'd get signed. It wasn't like he was just going to sit out a year. Personally, I thought a team like Denver would have been more suited for him, because they got amazing pieces around their team. Their quarterback's still improving in Drew Lock. But listen, I think it's a low risk, high reward situation for New England, because this year was going to be a rebuilding year for them. Obviously, moving on from Tom Brady, and other than that, they don't have a great offense. Defensively, they're still a good team. They still don't have a great offense. So Patriots fans thought, all right, this is the year we're going to just kind of stink and maybe get a good pick next year, and who knows. But I think it was so smart of the Patriots to do this. I think you're going to get a guy, Cam, who wants to prove himself to the league. You got a former MVP who, when he's healthy, he's a top 5 quarterback, I think, in football, with the fact that with what he can do with his legs, his arm strength, just playmaking in general. I mean, that group of receivers that he took to the Super Bowl in 2015, they weren't very good, dude. Like, Julian Edelman's better than
Kelvin Benjamin, who's out of the league,
Yeah, Funchess, right, was there?
Actually, I think he was actually hurt that year.
Yeah, he was hurt that year.
But he was hurt, so they really had nobody.
Yeah. He had, like, Ted Ginn, and Edelman is better than any of those guys.
Right.
So we'll see what he can do. As far as the contract goes, it's absolutely insane, because obviously we're in a world, and especially a quarterback world, where they're just getting handed money no matter who you are. And to see a guy make $1.05 million right now, only $550,000 guaranteed, only up to $7 million, that's an absolute steal if you're the Patriots. You're paying your quarterback $7 million, who is a former MVP. What more can you ask for right now? Obviously, I didn't think that he was going to get a max deal or anything like that, but I thought he at least could have gotten 15 million, maybe even 20 if it's a short-term 1 year, prove it to me deal. But I think, like I said, prove it to me. I think Cam is definitely going to go all out. And if he's healthy, I don't see why he wouldn't be good with Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. So for you, this is really interesting now when you look at this division, because I think if you said, a few weeks ago, I think most people, even Patriots fans, would have been pretty much on board with the fact that Buffalo was really going to take this division this year. They were a good team last year. That defense, Josh Allen made a step forward as well. But now, with this addition of Cam, it makes things a lot more interesting. So for you, are you looking at New England as, with this addition of Cam, are they the team to beat in the AFC East still? Or do you think this really could be Buffalo's year to actually win the division and beat out New England for first place?
So I still think that it's Buffalo's division this year to lose. I think the Patriots, there's going to be a lot of question marks because it's a whole new, even all the guys who were there last year are going to have to learn a completely new styled offense with Newton now instead of Brady. And if you look at the Bills, I personally think the addition of Stephon Diggs to the Bills might be a bigger addition than Cam to the Patriots. Not taking anything away from Cam, and a quarterback's a quarterback, but if you Josh Allen hasn't really had a great receiver in his early career, and Josh Allen is such a hit or miss guy. I mean, some days he looks amazing, other days he looks flat out terrible. He's not very accurate, but I think a guy like Stephon Diggs, who can get open and especially get open down the field, it shouldn't hurt him. You know what I mean? It should only make him better. Buffalo's got a really good defense still. So I personally think it's the Bills' year this year to win the division, but going to be a lot tougher. The AFC East as a whole got a lot stronger. Miami, with Tua and all those draft picks, they got stronger. I think the Jets are going to be better this year. Even though the whole Jamal Adams thing, which we'll get to later, but but still, I think it's the Bills.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I think, first of all, the defense was just so strong for Buffalo last year, and it was for New England as well. But like you kind of mentioned, Josh Allen, with this addition of Stephon Diggs, he's still got John Brown, too, who's another kind of deep ball, home run hitter kind of receiver. Not as consistent as Diggs, of course, but I like some of the pieces Buffalo has now on offense. They got the running back Singletary, who didn't play as much as I thought he would last year. They were giving some carries to, other guys in that backfield. And I really thought Devin Singletary,
me too.
He actually got the ball. He was very effective. So I still like Buffalo this year. But like you mentioned, going to be a much more competitive and compelling division because I think Miami and the Jets are also moving in the right direction. Maybe not there yet, but moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Last thing I would just ask on this Cam topic here before moving on is, of course, this has just been a wild offseason in the NFL. A lot of moving parts, a lot of big names exchanging teams. And so now you've got Cam is going to be a Patriot in a couple of months, and Tom Brady is going to be a Buccaneer. Now for you, I know both of those things sound completely strange and completely foreign, but for you, what's going to be the weirder sight in your opinion, if you had to pick one?
I think it's Brady in Tampa because I never, at least with the past 2 years, I almost guaranteed that Cam Newton would play for somebody else just because you could tell his time in Carolina was dwindling down. I never believed that Tom Brady was going to leave New England until the day it happened. Even all the reports that were like, he's going to sign with Tampa tomorrow or something like that, I still was like, dude, I don't know. It's just one of those things where you could never really picture it. And it's here. And of all things, if you told me Tom Brady went to the 49ers, I might be able to picture that. That's his home. He grew up as a huge Joe Montana fan, full circle coming around. But of all teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's just the Buccaneers are known for being a joke. And Tom Brady is known for the complete opposite. He's a born winner, and he's the most successful football player of all time by far. So it's going to be insanely weird to see him. Definitely weird to see Cam in New England, but it's extremely weird to see Brady in Tampa.
Yeah. I would honestly, I just agree because kind of like you just mentioned now, the fact that not just the fact that Brady is moving out of New England somewhere else, but going to the team that, like you mentioned, is known for being the joke of the league, right? Like, you think about if I said joke in relation to the NFL, you would probably think Cleveland, Tampa, maybe like Detroit, teams like that.
The
So
Jets.
when you're talking about the greatest winner in the game going to a team like that, that's what really surprised me more than anything. So it's definitely going to be weird on both sides seeing Cam with Bill Belichick. That's something I didn't see, a few years ago. I would have not pictured that in my mind.
Nope.
But it's going to be weird, definitely on both accounts. But let's segue into topic number 2 for today. And of course, this is quite interesting as well. So of course, we know the NFL season is now just about 2 months. Think about 8 or 9 weeks from hopefully starting up. But the NFL, Roger Goodell and the NFL are still going to have some things to sort out before we get going here. With the COVID-19 situation, cases rising in several states across the country, not every state, but in several states. So one of the things the NFL has discussed, and of course this is not finalized, but one of the things they have discussed is that the NFL may require fans to sign a liability waiver if they wish to attend games this fall, actually in person. So this concept would be in addition to other measures that the league is thinking of putting in place in order to host fans inside the stadium this season. And other measures that they've talked about include no cash transactions in the stadium, having prepackaged foods, and requiring fans to wear a face covering in the stadium. So obviously this is a lot to unpack. Obviously still a lot of uncertainty with several states across the country with this COVID-19 pandemic. But for you, first of all, just thoughts on the general idea of fans signing a waiver in order to attend an NFL game. Do we like this idea? Do we hate it? What do we think?
As far as the waiver goes, I think it's not stupid, but it's just like basically what the NFL is saying is, hey, if you get COVID, it's on you. You know what I mean? And that's just, to me, that's so NFL. They're going to take your money. I guarantee you the waiver is going to say no refunds, you know what I mean? No nothing. If you get it, it's on you. So I don't like it. I think they should do what the NBA and MLB are doing, and that's not having fans or finding some way to spread out the fans. But as far as the waiver goes, I think it's just so NFL.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. Like if you had said to me without telling me what league was going to do this, if you had just said, well, one league is thinking about having this waiver policy, I would have thought NFL. I mean, it really is an NFL move. Now, on one hand, I guess I appreciate in a way the creativity or making the effort to try to host the fans, because the NFL, more so than the NBA, MLB, really any other sport, it is the fan experience. When you
for sure.
NFL, you think the fandom, the getting together as family, getting together as buddies, coming together, rallying around. You get 1 day a week, right? I mean, yes, there's a Monday night game and a Thursday night game, but pretty much 1 day a week.
Yeah, so, and it's like the tailgates and all that. Right. It's a whole experience. Yeah.
Right. So it does really feel like an NFL move to me, but I kind of hear you. It also, on the other hand, it just doesn't sound too smart, because like you said, the NFL is basically saying, if you get it, it's on you. Don't look at us. So I think it's strange. I feel like it's not going to come to pass. I just think there's too many hoops to jump through. And even if you have this liability waiver, I still feel like you open yourself up to people getting the virus, by attending games, and they're going to try to find some loophole so to make you responsible anyway. So I just think it opens up a can of worms. But now I'll just ask you, how you would feel personally. So would you, and again, we have about 2 months until the season would start normally anyway, but would you feel comfortable attending NFL games this fall? Or do you think it really would depend on like the situation, maybe like where you were or other factors?
Well, first of all, I don't think I have the money to attend an NFL game because that's so expensive. But it's interesting. I don't think that I would feel comfortable going unless unless somebody came out and said, all right, we're good to go, which doesn't seem like that'll happen anytime soon.
You think if there's a vaccine, maybe?
Yeah, maybe even a vaccine. Yeah, but that's not going to happen for,
Right.
a while. So unless it's like, if you had to wear face masks, which nobody would do anyways, and they spread out the people, you know what I mean? So you weren't on top of everybody, like they only sold like 25% maybe of the stadium. But either way, no, I wouldn't really feel comfortable just because it is a risk and you never know where any of those people have been.
I would feel a lot more comfortable with the mask. But again, it's do you want, if you're going to an NFL game, I just can't picture people going to an NFL game with masks on. It just doesn't feel right to me, a lot of people aren't going to want to do that in the first place. And then even if you did, first of all, a lot of these places, especially like early in the year, are you going to go down to, Tampa or Jacksonville, for example, have a mask on, in 90, 95 degree weather for 3 hours? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I think I feel more comfortable too, like you mentioned as well, spreading the fans out. But again, it's you have to look at it and you're balancing, if you're the NFL, the idea of safety, precaution, making sure people are taken care of. But at the same time, that somewhat comes at the expense of the fan experience. Because the NFL fan experience is about being loud, being on top of each other, screaming, going crazy.
Hugging for a touchdown.
Right. It's not like baseball, and I like baseball, so it's not a knock on baseball, but just a different culture in terms of when you go to the game, when you go to a baseball game, people, it's a lot more about, relaxing, enjoying the day, just, taking in the game and just enjoying yourselves. But in the NFL, it's a lot different. It's a 16-game schedule. You get 8 home games, so you don't have all these opportunities. If you're a fan, you can't say, well, we'll come back next month, because you only got 8 home games, so there's not really that many opportunities. But I totally agree with you. I think that's still a lot the NFL has to work out, but the idea of the liability waiver, that doesn't really seem to make a ton of sense for me.
No, it doesn't at all. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So we'll go into third down now, and another hot topic this week, and it's really growing in steam as well. So the Washington Redskins, a name change for the team, seems to be all but certain at this point. Now, team owner Dan Snyder in the past, he's held firm on his stance to not change the team name for several years, but it appears he may no longer have much of a choice. So FedEx, who owns the naming rights to the stadium where Washington plays, they recently, in the past couple of days, made a request that the team change its name. Since then, Washington announced that they will do a, quote, thorough review of the team's name, opening up the increased possibility that the name will be changed soon. So, of course, all of this, controversy with the Washington Redskins name, this has been going on for several years. This isn't the first time that anybody has brought it up. But of course, with the police brutality, concerns that have really been heightened in the nation across the past several weeks, the death of George Floyd as well, it's really kind of all come together, and we're really, becoming, not to say that people weren't aware beforehand, but I think really now the idea of racial insensitivity is really becoming kind of at the forefront of the media and what's going on TV, radio, online, and we're seeing more and more of it. We've seen, they even did away with Aunt Jemima, the pancake syrup. So we're seeing a lot of things that have really been coming to the forefront in the media regarding all of this. And so, of course, the Washington Redskins name that's been around for a long time, several decades. And of course, this isn't the first time that people have, expressed displeasure with the name. But now, with all of the things that are going on, it seems like the name may finally be changed, and it may not be too much longer before it is. So for you, what are your general thoughts on just this controversy with the Redskins name? And do you feel like it's time for a change personally?
So my thoughts on it are, I'm glad that now, because you said they've been talking about it forever, right? Not forever, but for years now. And at first, I was like, why change the name? It's been a name forever. You should just leave it. But you say that when it doesn't offend you. It offends other people, and the world right now, it should open your eyes to. Yeah, you might not be offended, or you might not be the one that's getting ridiculed or anything like that, but it happens to other people. So if it offends somebody, then we should change it, and it clearly has affected a lot of people. It's like nobody's going to change the name for the Eagles because who is that going to offend? You know what I mean? That's something that would be, all right, come on. But this is like a really racial term, and to see a change being made, it's fitting because all I want is for changes to be made. Talking about it is one thing, but stepping forward and actually doing it, that sets an example, that sets a precedent now that other people are going to follow. Like, damn, if this football franchise that's been around for 40 years, right? Since the 80s or 70s?
Yeah, I think like 60s.
Even longer. 60s, yeah. So 50, 60 years is going to say, you know what? We're changing our name. We're going to do something about this. We're going to do something about racial insensitivity. That sets a really good example. So I think I would love to see a name change. It'd be cool. I think it would rejuvenate the franchise too, because they've been a joke the past 5, 6, 7 years. After RG3 was a rookie and they made that playoff run, other than that, they've been a complete joke. So it'd be definitely good for the franchise, I think, to change of pace.
Yeah. And, honestly, that wasn't a point that I was going to make myself, but I think it was actually a good one, what you just said there. Because when you look at Washington, they've been a really bad team the past handful of years. But I'm starting to look at this team and, not to say that they're going to win the NFC East and beat out Philadelphia. I'm not saying any of that. But you're starting to see some of, like, the young pieces who could be in place for the next run. You've got Dwayne Haskins now. Yeah, he only played a handful of games last year, and he wasn't overly impressive. But, you got to give him a real chance. And I did like some of the things he did. It's just a matter of consistency. Yeah. But that's a young quarterback. You've got Chase Young now, who I think is literally going to be right from the word go. Close to a 15-sack caliber player. I think he's that good. I think he's going to be one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. You've got a young receiver, Terry McLaurin, who also went to Ohio State with that. Actually, they're all Ohio State.
All Ohio State guys, yep.
Yeah, now that I think about it. But the point is that you've got some young guys in place for the next, hopeful return to the playoffs for this team. And I think it would rejuvenate them in a way. So I totally agree with you on that. And, you also said, sometimes it may not offend you, but it offends other people. And not everyone is offended by this name. And some people, some Native Americans are not even offended by this name, but some are. And that's what you got to be careful of. And that's what you got to recognize as well. So now just a fun question regarding this topic as well. So if the team does ultimately decide to move forward with a name change, which I think is highly likely at this point, the internet has floated around some interesting suggestions for the new name. I don't know if you've had a chance to see any of them, but do you like any of the names that have been suggested? Do you have one of your own that you like? Do you have anything in mind?
So what ones have you seen? Because I haven't really seen. I saw like one Washington Generals, which would be all right. But isn't that already like a team?
Yeah, right. There isn't that who plays like the Harlem Globetrotters or something?
Yeah. So that's already a thing. So you can't do that. What other ones have you seen though?
I actually like, and I saw it floated around a little bit. I don't think they would choose this as the name. But I think it would be fun, and I don't think it's as bad as it sounds. So I actually like the name the Pigskins instead of the Redskins, because obviously the Pigskin is the nickname for the football. Back nowadays the football is not made from anything to do with pigs, but back in the day, several decades ago, it was in part made from pig materials, for lack of a better term.
I like that.
So I actually think it has a nice ring to it. I don't know about you, but I kind of like it.
That's actually a really good suggestion, Anthony, because, what do people call the Redskins? They call them the Skins. You know what I mean? If I'm a Skins fan, you could still say that. You can still say I'm a Skins fan, except now you're a Pigskin fan. But I think that fits perfectly. I wouldn't think that Pigskin would fit with any other team more perfect than Washington.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
really
it
don't.
has the word skin in it, like
Yep.
Redskins does. Um,
Uh-huh.
it's a football term, so it goes perfectly with that. Now, I think the fan favorite right now, from what I've seen, which is also a really good name, and I think this name is more likely to happen. But they've talked about the Red Tails, which
Yep, I've
is
seen that.
a reference to the Tuskegee Airmen. So I think that's a cool name too, and they kind of released, or at least kind of probably just some fan artists released some potential logos that could go with it. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be, like you said. First of all, generals that's already a thing. So I don't really like repeat names. So like
No, I agree.
one that I've heard, it's like we've got like the New York Giants football, we've got like the Giants baseball. Like I don't like repeat names. So
No,
like
I agree.
I've heard that one of the names discussed is Warriors, but I'm never gonna think of Warriors. If you just say Warriors,
Uh-huh.
I'm never gonna not think of the Golden State Warriors. Just
Yeah.
because of in my lifetime the
Yeah.
success that they've had, in the past handful of years. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna not think of Golden State Warriors if you just say Warriors. So I don't like the idea. Washington Warriors has a nice ring to it, but I
Yeah.
just don't like repeat names. So
No, I completely agree with you. And if I was the team, I wouldn't want the same name as somebody. I would want an original name, my own name. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. Like it's like the Rangers, you know what I mean? You got the New York Rangers, but then you got the Texas Rangers. It's
right.
like, well, who do you think of when you say Rangers? It's tough. If I was the Redskins, but now they're going to be changed, hopefully, I would want something that is fitting for me and something that the Pigskins is so original, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
even
It's
even
so
the Red
fitting.
Tails.
It's so fitting,
Yeah,
like you said.
yeah, even the Red Tails. That's like you wouldn't think of anybody else when you you know what I mean? Anything to do with maybe even like I don't know, like I'm trying to say like law, like you know what I mean? Like you're in Washington D.C., so maybe anything to do with that would be a fitting name. Maybe people like that, but I definitely like either Pidskins or Red Tails. Those are two really good suggestions.
Yeah, I agree. Just something original that you haven't heard before. Like you said, like
Uh-huh.
neither of those names, you wouldn't hear either of those names and think of any other team because they're
Yep.
just so original. I think that's
Completely
really
agree with you.
about for them going forward. So the last topic we'll get to on our fourth down today. This is a little bit of older news, but I haven't had a chance to discuss it yet. So Jets safety Jamal Adams, who's one of the top safeties in the league. He's just one of a handful of NFL stars. We've heard a lot of rumors over the past couple of months. Yannick Ngakoue, the Jaguars, is another big one. But Jamal Adams could be on the move soon. So the 24-year-old, he's officially requested a trade from the team as of last week. Now, as I mentioned, Adams is one of the top safeties in the NFL. He's actually one of the top defensive players in the NFL altogether. But the Jets right now seem hesitant to pull the trigger and make Adams the highest paid player on their team, which it sounds like he wants. So Adams has now officially requested a trade after weeks of speculation in the media, and he will certainly have many suitors coveting his abilities. So, for you, Max, do you think the Jets, now Adams is terrific, but do you think the Jets should make Adams the highest paid player on their team, or would they be better off dealing him for a first-round pick and possibly more, really?
I think they'd be better off dealing him. If you had asked me this question, 3 months ago, I would say keep him because he has all he wants to do is just he used to make it clear all the time. He wants to be a Jet. He wants to be a Jet. He wants to be a Jet. And to me, and you're a losing team like the Jets are, and you get this really good player who all he wants to do is play for your team, and he's proven that he deserves the money, pay him. But now, so they made a mistake. They should have already paid him. But now the way he's acting, calling out his teammates, the organization, the coaches, it'd be tough for me to – I think there's no going back. I think you have to trade him. And it's tough because the safety might be the quarterback on the defense. You know what I mean? Safety or middle linebacker is the quarterback of the defense. So you can't – like if this was a receiver obviously you don't pay him. You're not going to make a receiver your highest paid player on your team or a running back. Then it's not worth it. But you're going to eventually have to pay Sam Darnold since that's your franchise guy. You need an offensive line offensive linemen aren't cheap. You know what I mean? You need an offensive line to protect Sam Darnold. They have other pieces on defense that are good too. So I personally wouldn't pay him. I would trade him because you can get a lot for him. You know, a team like, Dallas has been linked to him. Obviously, that video surfaced about, hey, you should go to Dallas. And he's like, I'm trying. They obviously need a safety. And he's from there. So Dallas is a suitor. Hopefully my Eagles are a suitor because they could use a safety, some secondary help, and it would just be a nice, stick it to the Cowboys a little bit. But yeah, to go back to your original question, no, I wouldn't make him the highest paid player on the team, especially given the circumstances right now. I would definitely trade him because you can get a lot for him.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like how I was thinking about the Jaguars with Yannick Ngakoue too. They're a team that's, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are more in a rebuild than the Jets are. But, you could flip Ngakoue for a first-round pick, maybe a little bit more. And that's kind of what the Jets could do with Adams as well. And, the Jets, they, like you said, they need some more offensive line help. I think they could definitely use probably some more offensive weapons, receivers. They've got Le'Veon Bell in the backfield, but who knows how much longer he has. So I definitely agree. Adams is terrific. He's a guy you absolutely love to have on your team. You absolutely love to keep him if you could.
Oh God, yeah.
But I think that trading him could be the right move as well. Now you kind of went into my second question a little bit, but now Adams has really there's been a list of teams kind of rumored to be in the mix for him. You mentioned the Cowboys, you mentioned your Eagles, and I'm sure that's what you're pulling for. But also the Texans, 49ers, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Ravens too have also been rumored to be in the mix for Adams. So when you look at these teams, do you really think that Dallas or Philly is the best fit for him? Do you see it as being somebody else? What do you think on that?
So I think out of those teams, the Texans wouldn't really make much sense to me because if you're the Texans, you're kind of rebuilding. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, you have your quarterback.
D-Hop, so it's kind of hard to imagine.
Yeah. So if you don't want to pay D-Hop, you're not going to want to pay really anybody. But those other teams, you mentioned the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Ravens. If you're the Cowboys or Eagles, I don't think you can let one of those teams, especially the Seahawks and 49ers in the NFC, get Jamal Adams. Because, I mean, that 49ers defense last year was absurd.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. When I saw that list, I was like, wow, 49ers, man, if they landed Adams with what they already have, I mean, good night.
Good night. Yeah, literally, dude. You could just book it for the Super Bowl for them again. So yeah, and the Ravens especially too. Either the 49ers or the Ravens. If they get him, watch out, dude. I would almost guarantee that the Ravens make the Super Bowl if they got Jamal Adams, just because that defense would be absurd. You match that with like Lamar Jackson, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that would be if you went to Baltimore or San Francisco, I mean, you talk about just the star power on either of those teams. It's interesting because I feel like for some reason, and I don't really know why, but I feel like Kansas City is always slept on, which is really weird because they have star power too with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, Chris Jones on defense.
Tyrann
They have
Mathieu.
star power too, but I feel like we're always talking like Baltimore, San Francisco last year. But no, I definitely agree. I think when it comes to let's say Dallas or Philadelphia, for example, Adams could be the player because right now San Francisco is a Super Bowl favorite. Baltimore is as well. I think Seattle's probably in that mix of favorites as well.
Yeah.
But if you're Dallas or Philly, you add Jamal Adams, I think you automatically insert yourself into the Super Bowl bubble
no doubt
this season.
No doubt, dude. The Eagles and Cowboys need him more than those other teams need him. They have a huge hole at the safety position, both of them. And they haven't made moves the past few years to get them over the hump. The Eagles won the Super Bowl, but the past, 2 seasons after that now, they were, supposed to be better than they ended up being, especially last year. Although last year everybody got hurt. Dallas too. Dallas has just been they have not reached their expectations by any means. They need to start getting going soon because, how many years – it's crazy to say this even, but how many years does Zeke Elliott have on the top of the running back world? It's not that he's getting old, but running backs have a short shelf.
No, you're right. Right,
And
in the league, I think this will be his fifth year.
fifth year. Because our freshman year of college.
Yeah.
It was his rookie year. Yeah. So
like you said, that sounds like a short amount of time, but in running back years, it adds up quick.
Yeah, no kidding. And especially the way he runs, taking hits like that. But you just signed Amari Cooper too. You're gonna end up signing Dak Prescott. You got CeeDee Lamb now. Now's the time. Now is when you make your moves. And Dallas, a team like Dallas, isn't going to have a need. Like, a team like Dallas isn't going to get a player that's going to help them more in the first round than Jamal Adams would. There's just no debating that. For the Jets, it might, because they have some other holes, whatever. Dallas or the Eagles, you're not going to find a player that's going to help your team more in the first round. You're just not. And look at what the Steelers did with Minkah Fitzpatrick. They risked it. And they almost made the playoffs because of that trade last year. And so you have to think about it in the same length. You have to. And it was worth it for the Steelers. And Jamal Adams is twice the player Minkah Fitzpatrick is.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think for Dallas especially, like you just said, for Dallas especially, it gets to that point in time where you have to go from talking the talk to actually walking the walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Dallas has really reached. You've got Dak, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper. Now, I give him credit for that move because bringing in Amari Cooper has really worked out extremely well for them. It hasn't turned into postseason results, but he's been tremendous for them. So you've got the guys in place. If you went out and got Jamal Adams, I think it's time to walk the walk and actually do it instead of just talking about it. No matter where Jamal Adams goes, whether it's Baltimore or San Francisco, that's just going to be an added luxury for a team like that.
Yeah.
When you think about the other teams, aside from, I would say, Houston, all the teams that were on that list, even Tampa or Seattle, Philly, all very compelling fits and all would make that team a contender, I think, for the Super Bowl, to get to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, definitely agree on all of that. But that is pretty much all the time we have for today. So I want to invite everyone to join me on the Hard Count Podcast episode 8 next time. But Max, thank you again. Hope you had a good 4th of July too.
Yeah, absolutely. You as well, Anthony.
Do anything fun?
Yeah, just chilled with some friends, drank a little bit, ate some burgers, the usual 4th of July stuff.
4th of July activities.
Listen, wish we had some baseball or anything to watch, but that'll be soon, man.
Yeah, we're getting closer. So that's the good news. That's the good news is that hopefully we won't have to wait until September when the NFL starts for some sports action. We'll get baseball going soon here.
No kidding.
But yeah, so thank you again for joining me today, Max. Hope to have you on again in the future. But yes, check out the Hard Count Podcast next time, episode 8. So that's all we have today, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.